Who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. Revelation 3rd chapter 14 through 22nd verses in the New International Version of the Bible. America, you have the spirit of Laodicea, specifically church in America. You have the spirit of Laodicea. You say that you are rich and you've acquired wealth and that you don't need a thing. Yet the people, the masses, are hurting and are starving. How is that? It's that way because we've gotten our eyes off what is important, which is winning souls. And they will know we are His. They will know that we belong to Jesus Christ by our love. My friends, here's the setup. I've been seeing for decades the peeling away of the wall that's surrounded America. I've been seeing the peeling away of the effectiveness of the church in America. Because we've lied in bed with politicians, we have allowed them to make policy that is contrary to the Word of God. Well, what type of policy are you talking about? We're supposed to feed the sick, clothe the naked, heal the sick, feed the hungry. Yet programs that are designed to do that, we say that's not necessary. And we cut that out. We send people to cut those programs that help the least of these. I'm not a politician. I am not a Democrat, and I am not a Republican. I am a saint of God. And I go according to His Word. These are things that we should be doing. Well, some will say, well, that's not the job of government. The job of government is to govern. The job of government is to govern and to make sure that its people are safe. And what better way to make sure its people are safe to have practices involved to take care of the least of these? Righteousness shall exalt a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. Brother Stewart, how is this still talking about the setup? What does this have to do with the Church of Laodicea? What does this have to do with end times? The Word of God says that in the last days, that people will be wailing and gnashing their teeth. That people will even dare to war against God Himself. That comes from a lot of arrogance and a lot of pride. That comes from someone who thought themselves to be bigger than God. Who does that sound like to you? Let's read Revelation chapter 19, verse 19. Then I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against the rider on the horse and his army. Who's the rider on the horse and his army? That rider is Jesus at his soon return. And upon his return, the Antichrist shall have convinced the kings of the earth and their armies to make war. Then I saw the beast and the kings of this earth and their armies gathered together to make war against the rider on the horse, who is Christ himself. To make war against the rider on the horse and his army. But the beast was captured, and with him the false prophet, who had performed the miracles, the miraculous signs on his behalf. With these signs he had deluded those who had received the mark of the beast and worshipped his image. How does it get that bad? How does it get that bad that people, in spite of seeing this miraculous sign of Christ returning in his power, still choose to make war against Christ? How can this be? How could someone be so deceived? You don't understand, do you? Revelation chapter 13. Verse 11. Then I saw another beast coming out of the earth. He had 2 horns like a lamb, but he spoke like a dragon. He exercised all the authority of the first beast on his behalf, and made the earth and its inhabitants worship the first beast whose fatal wound had been healed. And he performed great and miraculous signs, even causing fire to come down from heaven to earth in full view of men. Because of the signs, he was given power to do on behalf of the first beast. He deceived the inhabitants of the earth. He ordered them, the inhabitants of the earth. That means all nations. He ordered them to set up an image in his honor. He ordered them to set up an image in honor of the beast who was wounded by the sword and yet live. He was given power to breathe. He was given power to give breath to the image of the first beast, so that it could speak and cause all who refused to worship the image to be killed. He also forced everyone, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on his right hand or on his forehead, so that no one could buy or sell unless he had the mark, which is the name of the beast or the number of his name. This calls for wisdom. If anyone has insight, let him calculate the number of the beast, for it is a man's number. His number is 666. 666. What is this passage saying? And how does this relate to the church? And how does this relate to America, the church in America right now? How does this relate to we, the church in America dropping the ball and not being about our Father's business. Notice here in this passage of Revelation that it talks about the nations, that it talks about the inhabitants of the earth being deceived. They had to get to a point where they said, we will worship you. You have authority. Okay, you're not following me. Let me continue on. You have authority to bring peace and safety to us all. I've heard it said that many of the world's problems stems from religion. Where do you think that thought came from? Where do you think that has taken root? It's a very old saying. But we fight an enemy that is as old as the solar system itself. Let's back up to Revelation 13, and we will go to verse 4. Men worship the dragon because he had given authority to the beast. And they also worshiped the beast and asked, who is like the beast? Who can make war against him? The beast was given a mouth to utter proud words and blasphemes to exercise his authority for 42 months. He opened his mouth to blaspheme God and to slander his name and his dwelling place, and those who live in heaven. And he was given power to make war against the saints and to conquer them. And he was given authority over every tribe, people, language, and nation. All the inhabitants of the earth will worship the beast, all whose names have not been written in the book of life, belonging to the Lamb that was slain from the creation of the world. He who has an ear, let him hear. Revelation 13, 4 through 9. Things have gotten to a point where people will say, you're right, Mr. Leader, whatever your name would be. It's true that all of these wars, all of these acts of terror, these endless battles, it's all coming from religion. And religion has to go. But what can we do? What can we do? And the beast will say, I have the answer. I will make it so that there are no other religions save one. And that one is that you will worship me. The setup. I hear people saying, oh, people in the church, they get afraid of the word end times. Oh, it's the end times. It's the end times.